Welcome to IDW Transformers Club. Today we will be covering the 24th installment to the 2005 to 2018 Transformers IDW franchise, Primacy Issue 2.
In the previous issue, Hot Rod, fresh from Autobot Academy, had a run in with his old friend Slinger, who has joined the Decepticons. While on a walkabout, Optimus Prime and Ironhide find Omega Supreme, who has been waiting the last million cycles for the return of Nova Prime. Megatron and Trypticon slash Pentius have come to an understanding before departing Cybertron to gather the scattered Decepticons. And now, Primacy, Issue 2. Cover art by Sarah Stone and Livio Ramondelli.
Megatron has sent his forces amongst the stars to find and return his Decepticon soldiers that left Cybertron under Scorponok's rule. Meanwhile, on Cybertron, Optimus is worried the distant and burdened state of Omega Supreme. Alpha Trion informs Optimus it could be another million years before Omega Supreme finds his soul again. Will Megatron take advantage of Omega Supreme's current condition? Also, will he find and return his lost Decepticon forces? What is he planning? Join us and find out on another exciting episode of The Transformers. Magmara 9.
All right, so we left off with Trypticon and Megatron blasting off into space to recruit the rest of his troops. Here we are on Magmara 9, and we are following Strongbox, who is transporting some goods, and he appears to have a run in with some strangers. He doesn't know who these people are, but they talk as if they're about to pull a heist on him. All right, so the supposed bandits, now that we can see that they are the stunticons, have pulled up to Strongbox. They're boxing him in, and they are getting ready to crash him. Here we have Wild Rider actually jump on the hood and smash him. Looks like they've done this before.
Yeah, it looks like typical Stunticon type fashion for sure right here.
It looks like Dragstrip has hit him with a tow line.
Yeah, I think I don't think he was expecting to knock him clean over the edge like that when he, broadsided him.
Now, Pack, I think that you brought up the wiki said that he died in this altercation, and we were wondering if they let him go. And I think if they did let him go, he probably fell into that molten lava or whatever is at the bottom that they're driving over. What do you think?
Upon original reading of this, I thought, nah, I can't see the Cybertronian just dying from a fall because they're pretty stout. They can take a lot of punishment. And then I reread it today, and I thought, if that's all lava, then maybe he did.
To me, it looks like a giant smelting pool. And when I read it, I couldn't tell if they actually dropped him or let go of the rope or anything like that. It's very hard to tell. But I would say if they did drop him, he did. All right, so they've hung Strongbox out to dry. Motormaster here holding him up. Looks like they've hopefully got what they want. And they receive a visitor in the form of Thundercracker. Thundercracker basically offers them a deal for a heist because Scorponok's out and Megatron's back. And this looks rather appealing to Motormaster and the Stunticons.
It looks to me like Thundercracker and the Decepticons set this up for them to run into Strongbox here, and that this is all actually a ruse to see if the Stunticons were actually capable of doing what they wanted, what he's offering them. What do you think?
That's a good point. They could have actually reached out to Swindo, who probably kept tabs on everyone and where they went, and told him to offer them all a heist so they could go pick them all up. So he's tipping them off with false info to see if they've still got what it takes to be a Decepticon. That's a very interesting thought.
Meanwhile, on Canis Tor,
All right, so we have a lush environment on Canis Tour, and this is a before and after the arrival of the amazing Predacons. And they have basically hunted this place to death, as they call it, a lifeless graveyard. And you've got Rampage and Razorclaw arguing about whose fault it is. It's either bad leadership or the fact that the other four have hunted it to death.
Okay, when the Cybertronians are feeding off of other life forms, what kind of life forms on this planet we talking about? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really say. So I'm like, well, what are they feeding on? They feeding on other mechanical beings, or it's kind of strange to me.
From the description, it sounds like it's organics, and that's also something I was wondering too. Are they actually consuming organic matter? I'm assuming they are.
Probably. I know in future issues such as Spotlight Cliff Jumper, he's got that artificial energy converter that he can throw plant matter and stuff into, and it makes kind of a crude energon for him. And plus, we've seen in the past before in other universes that the Insecticons are capable of consuming anything for energon. It's not hard to believe that the Predacons are capable of consuming plant and organic matter to actually make energon. And here you've got Headstrong and Tantrum, weak from lack of energon, just watching the fight go back and forth. And up above, you've got Dive Bomb, also very weak. As you can notice, they've put kind of squiggles around his speech bubbles. And they're all basically making the comments that whoever's the weakest, whoever loses, is the one they're going to eat next. So, yeah, Dive Bomb's just watching the tussle from above. And he, of course, says in the rawest form, survival of the fittest. But then himself keels over and falls from the branch. So Dive Bomb goes falling down, and you've got Tantrum and Razor Claw deciding that they are no longer picky about who they eat. And looks like Dive Bomb is the next meal for all four of them, or so they would think. Just as they're about to feast on Dive Bomb, they hear something behind them.
It makes you wonder here. Is this the first time they've ever come to this point? Have there been other Predacons that they've eaten in the past, or is this truly the first time that they have, gotten this, gone this empty on Energon?
That is a very good point, because we've seen before, well, we haven't seen before, but in later issues, whenever they introduce another group of Decepticons, we find out that they're kind of replaced with strongest and survival of the fittest based on the needs and wants of Megatron. It's not hard to believe that the Predacons recruit only the strongest bots to be part of them. And whenever something like this happens, well, they're out and they'll find another. That's if they even need another. They may feel perfectly strong at 4. So the noise from behind is Astro Train flying in. And of course, we've got Starscream looking down on them and talking about following their murderous trail across worlds and how easy it was to find them. And as they sit and look up at Starscream and him making an offer to them about coming back, Razorclaw says he only serves one person. And he makes it abundantly clear who that is. Even though he doesn't say his name, we all know that it's Megatron that he's loyal to. And Starscream basically tells him that Megatron's returned. So are you in or are you out?
Iacon, Metroplex Command Center.
In this scene, we have Omega Supreme standing guard over Optimus's quarters. there's a conversation between Alpha Trion and Optimus. Alpha Trion commenting about the last time he even saw Omega Supreme, and Optimus having concerns over how distant and burdened that Omega Supreme sees. Alpha Trion reminds Optimus that he's been gone a long time, and that bringing him back into the fold isn't just going to change his personality immediately, and it could take as long as another 1,000,000 years before he finds his soul again.
I don't know if it's just me or not, but this panel has always made me think that Optimus Prime had a side job as a TV repairman.
It does look like that's some sort of monitor or some kind of control panel that he is working on.
Everyone's got to have their hobbies. You just don't know what he's working on. Like in his right hand, it looks almost like a rock. And then if you look behind him, he's got what appears to be like a crystal or a rock up there as well. So I don't know if he's just keeping his mind busy or if he's actually doing something strategically productive.
So that's a mini series I want to see. I want to see what the hobbies are of particular Transformers.
That would actually be very interesting.
The Presidium, former garrison world of Nominus Prime.
All right, so on the Garrison world, we have another group of Decepticons, also tipped off by Swindle, and it's none other than the Combaticons, getting ready to blow the door to the Garrison. And of course, they threaten Swindle on his life about the intel that he's given them, and hopefully it's not faulty info. Just as they're about to open the door and blast it opens itself. And there standing is Starscream and the Predacons. And they make the same offer to them as they did to the Stunticons and the Predacons. Basically, a new job. And of course, the first thing that Onslaught wants to know is how much it pays. And they say, climb aboard Astro Train, we'll discuss your payment. And from there, they blast off.
I think it's great to see the Combaticons here. I love the whole aspect of out for money, just out to get it paid on a job.
Also, Astro Train had to put a lot of stat points into mass shifting.
Yeah, he is carrying a big load. Need to jettison the weight so they can get back to Trypticon.
Deep space, Trypticon.
We see an exchange between Megatron and Soundwave. Megatron asks Soundwave about their seekers returning and if his forces are assembled and ready. Soundwave confirms that everything's nearly there and everything is proceeding as planned. Yet Megatron believes that Soundwave has some concerns. Soundwave expresses his concern over visiting the planet of Junk again, which he calls a world of death and madness. And Megatron insists that they land down so he can force his will upon the planet.
The death world of Junkion.
In this scene, we see Trypticon land down on Junkion, and Megatron exits the ship. Just as the Junkions appear ready to attack, Megatron confronts them, demanding to know if they remember him, and he is called names Stranger, Destroyer, Wreckage Demon, the Ruin King.
I think this whole section here where these Junkions just submit to Megatron, and we all know what this world is about because we saw it in Monstrosity, and this world is non-forgiving. These individuals and these life forms on this planet are ruthless, and they immediately submit to him to show you the power and just how evil Megatron is becoming, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's didn't really make it as clear in the Monstrosity that he had this much of an impact. I mean, they showed him going across the walking across the world of Junkion, but they didn't really show this level of impact because I don't remember seeing these guys.
I don't either. I just thought it was really cool because these guys just look like some serious characters right here. Kind of the feel I got when, you know, when you heard them speak. Just some characters are just maniacal.
Delighted in their answers, Megatron commands them to kneel and to gather their clans. They are to scavenge their parts, make their world ship ready, and join the Decepticons, and they are leaving the ghosts of this hell behind.
Cybertron, Metroplex Command Center. Later.
So Bumblebee's reporting into Prime. They've got long-range scanners detecting a huge energy signature coming their way. And here we've got Prime with Bulkhead and Hot Rod and Grimlock. And they know it's Trypticon, and he's incoming hot and fast. They're also discussing that with as fast as he's coming in, it looks like he's basically going to ram the planet. And if he does, the fallout from that is going to be catastrophic.
Now, from their conversation, it sounded like if they tried to stop him, to blow him out of the sky or something, that it would cause more destruction. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were talking about blowing him to pieces, but it would just create lots of smaller pieces that just bombed out everywhere. They were kind of at a loss of what to do. Let him hit the planet as a giant asteroid, let him hit the planet as a bunch of smaller asteroids, if that's even possible, or what?
Above.
In orbit over Cybertron, just above the Metroplex command city, we see Trypticon and the Quintesson ship ready to attack. Megatron gives the command and Trypticon begins transforming to planetfall down from the sky. Inside the Metroplex command center, Optimus and Bumblebee see what's happening. Bumblebee articulates the amount of damage that will happen to Iacon and the tourist states surrounding Iacon. Optimus initiates Teletran's gamma defense protocols and calls the Autobots to abandon the facility and evacuate the adjacent blast bunkers.
Well, I hope that they were able to recharge Metroplex enough from the refined energon that they got from the Taraxis refinery.
Seems like they did. They made a comment above that they were rerouting the energon, so hopefully they did. You'd think they did if that's the decision that Optimus is making.
Yeah, because before he didn't even have enough to transform. So, I guess we'll find out.
All right, so Ironhide notifies Optimus Prime that the facilities are empty and evacuees are getting clear. Optimus acknowledges and tells them to brace for impact while commanding Metroplex to stand and defend. Metroplex rises up to meet the challenge of Trypticon. And Metroplex does just that. Bumblebee nervously musing to himself. He thinks Metroplex can handle this. And from what it appears, Metroplex has got his eye on the sky and he looks confident. It looks like he's measuring and gauging the impact pretty well. It's a pretty good shot of Metroplex right there.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed by that when I saw it first time. Very nice panel right there. To kind of see just his imposing power as well. Like, I'm here, bring it, buddy.
Here we have touchdown of Trypticon on Metroplex. There's no wording on this picture. It's just you feel the impact. And I don't know about you guys, but the one thing that I feel like they could have added to this was a little bit of like air resistance lines or friction lines from the direction of where Trypticon came from. Because when something's generally falling like an asteroid, it has a tail or some smoke or something coming behind it. They don't have that on Trypticon here. So it looks like he's just standing on top of Metroplex instead of he just fell on Metroplex really fast. What's your guys' opinions?
I agree. I think that it would have added if they would have shown that the heat of reentry. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing on Cybertron, but I assume it is. But yeah, it would have added to this scene.
Yeah, definitely agree that just didn't feel like I couldn't feel the speed, the velocity, the wind shear, some coming in. So good call. Something they could have done better there. But, you know, this end scene, was pretty amazing. You know what I mean?
Just to add to what Ramrod said about the atmosphere, when we saw just a few screens ago, when Trypticon was first transforming, they were up and it was orange, and there was air resistance in that picture. So it feels like in some way there was an atmosphere or something, but I don't know. Maybe only it's got a high atmosphere and not down below. So maybe that's why we don't see it down here.
It's good to see you again, old Titan. It's been far too long.
I like that you can see all the little bots there running for their lives. But you can definitely tell also that Trypticon has not forgotten Metroplex's role in imprisoning him.